Hi everybody, my name is Richard Parkhouse. I'm a board member of Forsys Metals and director of IR. I'd like to introduce my colleague as well, Pijn van Wyk, who has recently joined us as project leader of our Norasa Project, which is our flagship uranium project in Namibia. And together we'll give you an overview of the company and the assets and where we're headed. We don't intend to go through the current sector environment because we assume that actually everybody understands this so well, though we want to demonstrate how well Forsys is currently positioned to exploit these factors. Before we get into the presentation, if we could just change the slide to the next one. That's it, forward-looking statements. I just want to draw your attention to our disclaimer, which cover this from a legal perspective. If we could turn over. Fantastic. So a quick overview of who we are and what we're up to. Forsys Metals is a Toronto Stock Exchange listed exploration and production company focused on uranium in Namibia. It acquired two deposits, which we'll look at in more detail in a minute, called the Norasa Project. We previously had gold interests in Namibia, though these were successfully sold earlier on in the year, providing further capital for our balance sheet, and also gave us particular focus to form the strategy on uranium alone. Over the years, we've built strong relationships in Namibia with both governmental and infrastructural agencies who are all very pro-Forsys. We appointed an individual, Jeremy Hangula, to the board last year, who has strong ties with the government, which continues the relationship building. In addition, as we said, we appointed Pijn, who also has very strong ties with government and infrastructure agencies, though most importantly has vast experience and reputation of operational mining in Namibia. Thus, whilst we've been in a state of care and maintenance since Fukushima, we have been building on our strengths, exploiting opportunities, and positioning for the rising price of uranium. We've reorganized, recapitalized, and are implementing our strategy to advance the Norasa Project. Under Pijn's leadership, we've appointed a local project team, which will be core to driving this project forward. We have a flat structure of the board, which has extensive mining experience, can move quickly to exploit all opportunities. If you could turn the page, please. Forsys was listed on the TSX in 2007, acquired Valencia and Namibplaas uranium deposits through 2007 to 2010, was awarded a full permitted 25-year mining license for Valencia in 2008. During this period, feasibility drilling commenced and continued through to 2011. And of course, that was the defining year when Fukushima struck, a year for all explorers and developers to go into care and maintenance. But given that dramatic fall in contract price, we weathered the storm at minimum cost, ensuring licenses and permits were kept up to date, executing on key drilling studies. And in 2015, we issued a DFS, a definitive feasibility study, which concluded compelling results and economics for proven and probable reserves in Norasa Project. More recently, we've redefined our strategy, strengthened our board, and appointed this project team in Namibia, and commenced further studies to update the 2015 feasibility study, which Pijn will go through in far more detail in a minute when I hand over to him. Let's have a quick look at the Norasa Project. If you could turn the page, please. So Norasa is one of the largest uranium deposits in Namibia, and 8th largest in the world, with proven and probable reserves of 92 million pounds, an annual production of 5.2 million pounds over a 15-year of production. Could you just turn the slide, please? So this shows exactly how we compare to other mines. And as you can see, both in terms of annual production and uranium reserves, where our Norasa project stands, according to our 2015 feasibility study. If you could turn back, please. And turn back, thank you. We've got all the key infrastructure in place, and the results, the financial results from the DFS, showed strong economics, a pre-tax NPVs of $623 million, pre-tax IRRs of 32%, and net revenues of over $5 billion. Sure, the grade of the ore at that point was graded at 200 ppm, which, whilst lower grade, represents a significant reserve and a potential operating cash flow of $1.75 million. So hopefully you can see why Forsys is well positioned to transition to becoming one of the largest uranium producers in the world. If you could turn 2 slides, please. Thank you. Also, it's worth looking at this slide, which shows the tremendous leverage that we actually have to rising uranium prices. If the price moved from 65 to 80, i.e. an increase of $15 per pound, we would increase our NPV by 89%. Please, can you turn over? Let's look at the capital markets profile. We've got a strong institutional base of 53%. And last year, we actually developed this through the bought deal, which we did with Red Cloud as our partners in Canaccord. We currently have a market cap of 104 million Canadian dollars with outstanding shares of 195 million. We have no debt on the balance sheet and are well financed with 22 million Canadian dollars in the bank, particularly after our bought deal and the sale of our gold reserves at the beginning of this year. If you look on the right-hand side, like many other uranium producers, our share price has been depressed during the last few years since Fukushima. Though in 2021, we saw a huge resurgence and we're one of the top performing uranium stocks of the year. If you kindly turn over. So we have a very, very strong board across both mining experience and also capital markets experience. And I'd point out particularly Martin Rowley and Paul Matasek, who are veterans of the mining industry with huge amount of experience, entrepreneur experience of building projects and mines and exiting projects, mining projects. If you'd kindly turn over. I'd now turn over to Pine, if I may, who can introduce his project team and take the presentation forward.
Good. Thank you, Richard. Yeah, so I'll have a bit of a background on myself. I've spent 15 years in the Namibian uranium industry. 8 years of that was at Rossing Uranium, where I basically was responsible in both areas of the process plant and later as engineering manager, overseeing all of the yellow fleet and physical plant infrastructure maintenance. I then moved on in 2005 to Paladin and was basically the operations manager for the establishment of the Paladin Lange Heinrich operation here in Namibia. And then thereafter, I've spent quite a bit of time consulting and assisting, projects like the Summer Uranium Project in the early days of development and feasibility study work. So quite an extensive sort of 14-15 year stint in uranium and operating in this specific region. The team that we've sort of put together at this stage is a consulting team of various key members that will assist me as technical specialists, and we will basically act as the owners team for Forsys. We've got Peter Christians, who's been a mining consultant and sort of open pit design expert. He's had many years at Rossing as well, and is currently involved in a number of other projects around this specific area. He'll be assisting us in optimizing our pit designs. Jacques van der Merwe is a very experienced process engineer. We've worked together on a number of projects over the years, and he will be assisting me on the process side. Mr. Oliver Krapman is a geologist, and I would say sort of one of the leading environmental permitting guys in Namibia. He has developed permitting processes for a number of new projects over the last couple of years, And then Halfeni is been involved as a geoscientist over the last couple of years, assisting Forsys with maintaining, our good standing of our permits, mining licenses, reporting and engaging with Ministry of Mines and Energy, and he will continue to support us in that way. Okay, next slide. So where are we located? I mean, we are on the outskirts of what we term in Namibia the uranium province. I think this is one of the most renowned uranium provinces in the world, with a large number of very, very large open cast mine deposits, and some of them are of different style. And if you look at the center of the picture there, where Arandis is, just outside of that is the Norasa uranium mine that's been in operation for, I think, more than 40 years already. Husap is now what I would term the largest mine tonnage uranium mine in an open cast format. Just last year they mined 111 million tons of ore and waste, so that just gives you the pure scale of that. It's about 4 times the tonnage that Norasa uranium mined did last year. The Langer Heinrich operation is positioned, that's a paleochannel sort of style deposit, that is still currently in care and maintenance. We understand Paladin has raised enough capital now to push ahead with restarting of that mine, so we will see that going back into production, probably in the next 12 months. And then there's a number of operations that are in various stages of feasibility, of which I think the Norasa Project is the most advanced, in the sense that, it has got its mining license already in place, it's fully permitted. We basically need to update the previous feasibility studies, improve the economics, raise the capital, and push ahead with production. Next slide.
About a minute left, fine.
Yeah. So I'm not going to talk too much about Namibia. I think it's a very well-known and established jurisdiction. Rule of law is very solid in our country. It is a country that's used to the mining of uranium, and it's well governed and understood. So I think it's the right destination to have a uranium project. Next slide. So again, just some detail around our permitting and where we sit. In short, we have basically all of our permits in place. We are in the process of renewing the EPL over the Namibplaas deposit, and we will be soon pushing ahead with the mining license application and consolidation of both the Valencia and Namibplaas licenses in the near future. Next slide. So we are so fortunate and blessed with the already well-established infrastructure in close proximity to our project. I mean, there's already desalination capacity, there's water infrastructure, pipeline. We only need to do a 30-kilometer to connect into the network. We're 30 kilometers away from the main NamPower infrastructure that is well established in the region. We're 26 kilometers from the main east-west highway that basically runs through the country, where we already have established a well-established gravel road, and that is already in operation. And then we are about 8 kilometers away from the town of Arandis, and we can utilize that as a major area for our people to stay in future. Next slide. So this just gives you again sort of an overview of the 2 main ore bodies. There is a small little satellite pit outside of Valencia as well, but that gives you an indication of the the pit designs that we currently have in the feasibility study. We are going to evaluate and optimize these pit designs, do more geotechnical work over the next couple of months, and then sort of reschedule and optimize this. Also look at contractor mining instead of, what we did back in the days where we only looked at owner mining. And we do believe that there's definitely some optimization work to be done to reduce, the cost of mining. So we can move on. So if Richard has talked a little bit about the project economics, I'm not going to say too much more. I think, our project is blessed with a very good mineralogy that gives us fairly high recoveries, 92 to 93% overall extraction from the leaching. We have a very simplified process, a straightforward sulfuric acid leach, similar sort of mineralogy that we see in the existing 2 uranium mines like Rossing and Husab. Processes that's well understood, very low technical risk, but definitely there's opportunities for us to review some of the process criteria and apply new technology where there has been some development in technology. So our development plan is in essence, we have put an owners team in place. We've basically submitted the renewal for the Namibplaas EPL, and that will soon be followed with an actual application of a mining license in the next 2 to 3 months. And then we have started, to review the previous definitive feasibility study, and we will take that forward in a very structured way to do the value engineering and then update the study's economic assessment. I've talked about the Namibplaas mining license application. So
sorry, Pine, we're out of time here. Can we just wrap it up?
Yeah, we are on the last slide. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Let's move forward. So I've talked about the Namibplaas mining license. That's done. Application will be submitted in the next couple of weeks. And then final slide for me, please. And we talk about the DFS optimization. I have touched on some of that stuff. We will focus on the geotech work, some gap analysis, and then, we are also just compiling a comprehensive legal compliance report on all of our related matters. I thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Richard and Pine.